Hey everybody, Bill in Virginia. Welcome back. So I am packing things up for the Richmond Greenberg train show. It's this coming weekend. Today is Monday, Martin Luther King Day. So have a day off from work. I am using it to get packed and get prepped. So in this particular tote, I have all of my standard rolling stock. So I've got my two steam engines, my two diesels, a variety of cars, several cabooses, so I can kind of change up the roster each day. I'm getting things packed down below and cleaned up. The clamps will be used for this piece, and I've made some of those for each of the modules. That is a filler brace that will go between here and just clamp in. Again, just so for transport, it's more rigid with how the layouts will act. And then the cars I've still got to take off, some of that stuff. I've been doing some painting on some edging material, but I'm not going to put that on before the show, and I may not put it on. I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do with that. Got a little bit of cleaning to do under here, but not too much. I will put like buildings, loose details in that tote, as well as automobiles. All people are in place. A lot of other things like up here, like that cat, the wagon, I'm not gonna take those off. They shouldn't bounce too much. It's not that far between here and the racetrack in Richmond. So I'm going to leave those on, but anything that's got wheels is going to come off, at least wheels that roll. So all of the main details in here will come off. Trains will be coming off. They'll be going into another tote like with the O standard. Be doing that here in a few minutes. So making some progress. Next one that I show should be the move to the train show and set up, and we'll see how everything goes this weekend. I got the On30 packed up, including the vehicles and all of the other good stuff. That didn't really take too long. And I have the layout apart, ready for transport. So I've still got a few little items up here. I'll toss them in the top of that crate. I got plenty of room. Stuff like this, I haven't got glued down. That's not gonna bounce anywhere. Still that water feature I gotta do. But then over here, again, layout is separated. So did just use some painter's tape just to kind of keep my pull-out drawers in place. I can put my bracing on, and probably, since I've still got some days before the show, probably paint at least the sides of this. So right now it's apart, and I can do that on both sides. Actually it's smoky gray, I think is what the color is. So next step, Friday, load it up, take it to the train show. Well, tomorrow is the day to take the layout to the train show here in Richmond. So I have it all set, bracing's in place, everything's packed up. Luckily it's not that far from the house in case I forget something. You can kind of see how that smoky gray looks. With the lighting in here, it's just kind of hard, but I can swing it over there so you can see how that is. I'll see how it looks once I get it put back together again, and I may end up going back to the green, but we'll see. And then also, I want to thank Ian over at Lehigh River Subdivision. On the Back on Track show a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about railroad names, and I hadn't named this one yet, and he threw out a suggestion, and you know what? I really like it. So Ian, there we go. The Appalachian and White Lightning Railroad. And then, of course, as seen on YouTube, Model Railroad Adventures with Bill. So I've got another one on the other side of the layout. I will take that off. It's on Velcro before I transport it. But a lot of work over a year, so I'm gonna have some fun with this. Next snip should be showing, putting it in the trailer tomorrow, or I should say truck. Well, first time in over a year I've seen this much of the garage. I will, over the weekend, clean up a little bit, move around the other two layouts, do some other things outside of show hours. But getting the layout into a Penske truck turned out to be an ordeal. I'm definitely going to have to look at getting sort of like a construction trailer, closed top horse trailer type thing for future endeavors. Banged and bruised on this one, but to show you what the packing job looks like. So rented a good sized Penske truck, like a 2 to 3 bedroom house, and layout fills it up pretty good. I've got some totes as spacers. I've got everything anchored off. I did come back in a while back and added some eye-bolt anchor points. And where I've got the sort of unbalanced parts of the layout, like the river scene there, and then the other river scene is over there. I've got a piece of pink foam board between those two pieces and some clamps. Should be good enough to get me where I need to go and keep it from bouncing around on itself there. I'll come up with something a little bit different, maybe future moves, but it's ready to go. The show is open for layout setup here in a couple of hours, and get there early and get this stuff down and get it set up. The hardest part is going to be just getting that out of the truck. Everything else is going to go quick. So setting up at the Richmond train show, and we have ignition. So the O scale is running. We'll go with some of the other scales here in just a minute. So after building this thing for over a year, I can finally see how that trestle looks from a distance. It's kind of funny. So everything is on here. Everything is running well. Ready for the show to start tomorrow. A little bit of crowd control just to keep the youngins from getting too close to it. But once it got into the building, the floors here are pretty flat, so it didn't take long to get everything leveled up. And track's running pretty good. Just had to clear a few boulders that got knocked down during the transition and transport, but running well. I did remove the bed with the nude lady since there's going to be kids here. Did leave the guy in the toilet. So the Appalachian and White Lightning Railroad is on display. The show has not started yet. The vendors are still doing setup, but it's not going to be long before we start to get folks coming in. A lot of different modelers here displaying all kinds of different scales, so it should be fun. And lots of people checking out the layout as the show begins here in Richmond. We are an hour and a half into the show here at Richmond, and it has been non-stop at the layout. I'm happy. It's exactly what I wanted. See lots of kids' faces light up as they're watching the trains run. Adults are having fun looking at the different scenes I've got on this. It's a success. So I'm a happy camper. And at the 3-hour mark, still getting a lot of people coming to look at the layout. It's been a great day so far. Day 2 at the Richmond train show. Doors have not opened yet, but everybody's in busy getting their layouts and displays. Sales goods ready to go. My train's running. Weather, Richmond is going to rain, so we'll see how the day plays out as far as for numbers. Yesterday, a lot of people here. Give it a good wave. Give it a good wave. Day 2 at the Richmond train show. About 10 minutes after it's open, so already a lot of folks taking a look at the layout here in the Richmond Greenberg train show. Well, this is going to do it for this video. The layout is back home after the Richmond Greenberg train show. And you'll notice this module is at this end of the garage, opposite of I had it set up. So loaded it wrong after the train show. We were in a hurry to get out. The weather was inclement and did not want to get this thing or ourselves soaked. So loaded it backwards into the truck. So today the sun is starting to break out. I will take this outside on the driveway, get the pieces in the correct order and get her back into the garage. But the layout fared well. Do not have any major damage or any major scenery issues. You know, I'll have to go and look once I do get it put back together. To move a few things like boulder that alongside of the tracks there and a few other little details. One thing that I did find out is that my engines were not meant for continuous running based upon age. So my 10-wheeler, the gear on the axle wore down completely. Motor was nice and firm and in location. The worm gear had good teeth on it, but the gear on the wheels, done. So that one failed. My 080 Indiana Harbor belt was running well for a while, and then it locked up. Did not register an overload, so I've got to tear it apart and see what was up with that one. My new Weaver, and new old Weaver, ran for a little bit and then it registered an overload, so it had a short somewhere on the inside, so I got to tear it apart and work. And then my Old Faithful big Pennsylvania, the F unit ran and ran and ran until it started to get slower and slower and slower on the same current until it finally died. No overload, no nothing. I could throttle up and I would get a good solid headlight, but absolutely no life out of the motor. So I have no motive power that works for the O scale right now. I'll get them fixed. Yeah, that's frustrating, but at least it happened now. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one. I will get this put back together and then get cracking on engine repair and kit building. So with that, keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.